scared when you recruit? Like when you think about recruiting, what's the feeling? Why do you get sick at your stomach?
You don't know what kind of questions you're gonna get asked.
Ooh, I love that. You don't know what kind of questions you're gonna get asked. And so is it because you feel like you need to be the expert?
Well, like it may, or like questions that you haven't asked yourself, so therefore you may not know the answer.
Gotcha.
So insecure.
Yeah.
Insecure. Yeah, personal insecurity. What about rejection? Anybody?
Yeah,
Fear
that's not a big
rejection?
thing.
Okay. Here's one little tidbit about rejection. Here's the thing. Some of the times when we think about recruiting, it's almost like the Evil Dead, right? You're walking out there like zombies. Oh my gosh, don't get near me, right? But recruiting is not really scary when you really put it into perspective. With recruiting, you're just trying to make friends. That's recruiting. How many of you have this huge circle of friends in your personal life? That are not consultants.
And that are 6, 10, 8, and 2-year-olds.
Well, in that case, yeah. So I think we've identified one key concept. Maybe you need to get out, right? Maybe you need to connect with the world, right? Because here's the thing, recruiting can be scary, but here's one little tidbit about recruiting. I want you to think about going into the fanciest restaurant you've ever been in. And all of us know this drill. She comes to you, the waitress, at the end of your dinner with this beautiful tray of desserts. She pulls it up, and some of them, Seasons 52, one of my favorite restaurants, they shine a little flashlight on each one. And they're these cool little glasses, and you're like, oh, this is so cool. And they go, would you like the key lime pie, or would you like the chocolate fudge cake, or would you like, they go through the whole thing, the hot apple pie all mode. And guess what? If you say no to her, I guarantee you that waitress does not go back in the kitchen and go, I'm gonna take the key lime pie, right? They don't cry, they don't get upset. What she knows is she's got this amazing tray of desserts and she's just gonna offer it to the next person. If you look at recruiting in that way, and you say, you know what, I'm not gonna take it personally. If somebody says no, it's not about me, right? It's not about you personally, it's not, they don't like the looks of you or whatever. It's just that it wasn't the right time for them. You know you've got this amazing tray of desserts in Scentsy, right? It's an amazing opportunity to have your own business, to be life-changing for some people. But if you look at it in the perspective and say, you know what, I am just gonna offer this and recommend it like I would recommend anything. Like my favorite movie. How many of you see a movie and you post it all over Facebook? Oh my gosh, you guys have to see this movie, it's the most amazing thing in the world. What about a book? I just read this book and you've gotta read this book. Or you know what, last week I took my SUV to the mechanic and he did not rake me over the coals. He was the most amazing mechanic. It was really inexpensive. I had a great time. You know, he was a great guy. You post that kind of stuff. But yet with the business opportunity that it can be so life-changing for so many people, we don't recommend it like we could, right? So sometimes it's just about putting it into perspective. You know, when you think about recruiting, it's making new friends. It's trying to increase your network. And most of us have an easy time. Most of us have an easy time. I wouldn't say everybody. Some people are shyer than others. But if you were at a party, not a Scentsy party, but a party outside of Scentsy, you'd probably be okay striking up a conversation with someone. Because you have no vested interest. You're just trying to make friends. So I'm going to share with you some recruiting strategies that are really more about connecting with other people that will end up increasing your business, increasing your confidence, and it'll be business changing. Does that sound good? Okay. So when you think about recruiting, it's really about making new friends. It's about being nice. It's about getting to know each other. And then the biggest one is finding out how you're going to connect again. So if I meet you, we're sitting next to each other, we're at a soccer game, we're having this great conversation, and I don't know your name is? Cassie. So Cassie and I are talking, we're having this great conversation. When Cassie goes to leave, am I just gonna go, bye, I'll see you someday? Yeah. Well, okay, there's your conversation. What I should be saying to Cassie is, Cassie, you know what, I had such a great time talking to you today. Are you gonna be back at the next soccer game? Can we sit together next time? Wouldn't you want to reconnect with someone who you really connected with? But typically we don't, so we don't follow up. So that's, you make a friend, you connect with them, you get to know each other a little bit, and you find out how you're gonna get back in touch with them again. That's really recruiting, right? That's breaking down recruiting in like the simplest of terms. So there are two ways that we actually build relationships and we connect. In our business, we connect outside of a party and inside of a party, right? So I want to kind of start this process tonight with outside of the party, because I think that if I can get you to really get good at connecting outside of the party, then connecting inside the party should be a cakewalk. So there is a goal that we have when we network and connect with other people. The goal is to leave each person that we meet with a good feeling about the company we represent, which is Scentsy, and a good feeling about us personally, and an interest in wanting to know more, right? So if I leave each person that I meet with a good feeling about me and a good feeling about Scentsy, they're going to want to connect with me again. So that's why we don't want to go for the jugular every time we meet somebody, right? Oh my gosh, you were so stinking cute. I got to have you on my team. Would you sign right here? Give me all your personal information. I don't know you, right? Because she's probably not going to leave with a good feeling about me. And typically, if they don't leave with a good feeling about you, they bridge it to the company. How many of you have ever met somebody personally, and then when you find out what company they represent, you always go, oh yeah, that's Scentsy lady. She was kind of crazy. And then it's like you connect Scentsy and crazy, Scentsy and that person. So the ultimate goal of when we connect and network with other people is that we really want to expand our pipeline and have, a lot of people that we can do business with. And the way that we do this is that we connect with people on a level so that they can answer yes to 3 questions. And those 3 questions are, can you help me? Can I trust you? And did we connect? When someone can answer yes to those 3 questions, you will have a loyal business partner for life. So if you have this customer network and you connect with somebody out and about, and they believe they can trust you, you're credible and you're trustworthy, you can help them. They feel like, wow, she helped me in some way, and you made some kind of connection, they're in. Does that make sense? If I know you can help me, right, I'm going to go back to you again. And what this is, the can you help me, can I trust you, and did we make a connection, that's your personal brand. How many of you in the room feel really confident about the personal brand that you have? Right, so use your personal brand to your advantage. Use your personal brand to connect people to the credibility that you bring, that they can trust you, that you can help them, and then you want to make those connections. You never want to rush the relationship though. And oftentimes what we do when we try to manipulate things to our own advantage is we rush the relationship. If I don't get to know you, if I'm not making a connection with you and we aren't connecting and you're not feeling good about me, for me to bring up a business opportunity is going to be irrelevant, right? Because I've rushed the relationship. You've known me for maybe a minute and a half. Now, it's interesting because you probably all have met people in your life that you met somebody and it was like, oh my gosh, we've been friends forever. I feel like I've known you my whole life. In like 10 seconds we connected, right? Ever met anybody like that? And then you have other people that become really close friends and you're like, oh man, the first 10 times we talked, I couldn't stand her, right? But then eventually over time you connected. But for whatever reason, you knew not to rush the relationship, right? You kind of pulled back or you held back, or gosh, you felt like, wow, we're really connecting, so you kind of jumped all in. So what I'm asking you to do when you connect with other people is to trust your gut instinct. If it feels awkward and uncomfortable, it's awkward and uncomfortable for the other person too, right? If you're not feeling like you're in the zone when you're connecting, they're probably not either. Does that make sense? One thing that you all don't know about me is I do a lot of temperature checks. Like, are you with me? Does that make sense? Trying to kind of gauge your reaction. So if I see this glazed over look on your face like I'm a Martian, then I know I have to probably go further. One of the fastest ways that you can make a connection with someone is really establishing something that you have in common with them, finding common ground. Does that make sense? How many of you have ever started a conversation and you feel like I have nothing in common with this person? Common ground is really strong, because if I can find something in common with you, then barriers disappear. As soon as I find out that we have something in common, all these barriers go down. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you have 2 eyes. I have 2 eyes. That's so cool. 2 arms? I have 2 arms. How cool is that? And then you're like, oh, that's totally cool. We both have 2 arms. We both have 2 eyes. And then you start talking. Have you ever done, you find something you have in common, and it's like, wow. I have observed so many parties in my career where I have watched guests in the room kind of bristle at the consultant, especially when they're checking out. But as soon as they find out they have something in common with the consultant, it's like, oh, no way. So what you want to do is you want to establish common ground with someone. And one of the fastest ways you can do that when you're having a conversation is you pay a compliment. So if I love your necklace, I say, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful necklace you have on. Chances are you like it too, or you wouldn't be wearing it. Unless it's like the paperclip necklace your child made you in kindergarten, you still probably love it, right? But if I compliment you on something you're wearing, that can be one way to establish common ground. You love it too, or it wouldn't be part of your, your wardrobe or your accessory. As you're establishing common ground, you pay a compliment. Maybe you ask questions and you're, oh my gosh, I love your necklace. Where did you get that? So now we're asking questions, now we're connecting, we're talking, and you need to be sincere. You can't go up to someone and say, I love your hair if they're having a crazy hair day. It doesn't work that way, because they're gonna know not sincere. You wanna be sincere. At some point in a conversation, it may not be in every conversation, it may not be the first conversation, you might be able to talk about the fact that you are a Scentsy consultant, right? Because when you connect with someone, what typically happens? When I get to know you, we're having a conversation, we're getting to know each other, what do you typically ask me at some point? What do you do? And I ask you the same thing, right? And then because we've established common ground, we're getting to know each other, we're connecting on some level. So one of the easiest ways for you all, as you're out and about, right? You're out and about and you're connecting, is to make it a consistent part of your routine to connect with other people. And some of you are looking at me and you're going, oh my gosh, I don't even want to go down this path. But here's what I'm going to tell you to do. Take a piece of paper and divide it into thirds. So 3 columns, 1, 2, 3, right? And down the first side of the first column, you're going to number it 1 to 10. And your columns are going to look like this. Where do I go? Is column 1. Who do I see as column 2, and what do I know as column 3? And this is what we call 10, 10, 10. So
what were the 3 columns again?
Great question. So the first column is where do I go? Second column is who do I see? And the third column is what do I know? Now the cool thing about this is that every week we have routines. And we have activities within our week. So what you want to do is on Sunday, if you want to get really intentional about your businesses on Sunday, you're going to write down, okay, the 10 things I know I'm going to do this week are, I'm going to go to the soccer game. I'm going to go to the dentist. I have a Scentsy party scheduled. And you make a list of all of those activities, right? Now each of those activities will have a corresponding person attached to the activity. So, soccer game. Okay, so I know at the soccer game, there's Cassie, I know she goes to the soccer game, she sits on the bleacher a couple rows down, I know her name, I don't know anything else about her, so I might write Cassie, because I don't really know her. The dentist, it could be, oh my gosh, the receptionist at the dentist, the nurse that checks me in. My party, it might be a question mark, because I don't know them yet, I haven't gotten to know them yet, so I put a question mark. The goal is, over that next week, you want to find out one thing about each of those people that you didn't already know. So you've got your 10 activities, you've got your 10 people, and you're going to find out 10 things. Now, why do you think that I care about having you do this?
Making contacts.
You're making contacts, absolutely. What else? Building relationships.
Kind of start changing the way you think too.
I'm trying to to change the way that you think about making connections with other people. And I want you to get really good at having conversations. I don't care if you ever bring up Scentsy. I mean, secretly I do. But I want you just to get really good at conversing with people. Because really what I want to ask you is a really important question. You know, do you have 10 activities every week where you are out and about doing something? And I knew some of you would say no. Because here's the thing. If you don't have 10 activities, then I have a little bit of advice. One, you need to get out more, right? Number two, you need to really think strategically about, okay, if I'm running a business, I need to connect with people because that's part of this whole deal. So how do I make that happen? For some of you, that might be setting office hours outside of your home. That might be saying, you know what, Panera Bread, every Tuesday and Thursday from 10 to 12, I'm gonna hold shop because I have to get out more. I'm gonna go into Panera Bread, 10 to 12, Tuesday and Thursday. I'm gonna set my little table up, they got free Wi-Fi, it's all good, I'm gonna work my business. What happens is people are creatures of habit. The same people will come into Panera Bread on Tuesday and Thursday from 10 to 12 because that's what we do, right? Now you'll have some new people thrown in, but you'll also have some, you know, established people that come in all the time. So you're in the Panera Bread, you're working your business, and I remember those days when I was working my business outside of the home, and I would sit at the table, and I'd have my office set up, and I'd be on the phone, I'd be talking business, I'd be flipping through my catalog, I'd be talking to people, and I'd be wheeling and dealing, and nobody in the restaurant knew there was nobody else on the other end of the phone. Right? I was.
I'm sorry, I've done that.
No, it took me guys a minute to figure out where I was going. But the reality is, people would come up to me and go, oh, so what do you do? Like the regulars, they would go, so what are you doing? And I would share with them, you know, I have my own business, right? People will, they're morbidly curious. They want to know what's going on, right? And at one point, I even made a little 10 card and said, you know, the company that I was representing interviews. Because I was meeting some people to talk about the business. And then it was like, who are you interviewing for? I'm like, oh, I'm interviewing for people that want their own business, right? It's about how you present yourself, right? When you're working your business and you're at the Panera and you're making eyes with people and you're making eye contact and you're smiling and you're saying, hey, how are you, right? What you're doing is you're putting yourself out there, right? You're trying to get out there, you're trying to put yourself out there so that you actually get better at just having conversations. So that's number one, you're struggling with 10. The other thing that I'm gonna say is, it's a mantra that I live by because it means so much, is to be present. You know, several years ago, many years ago, there was a philanthropist in my hometown who had built a part of the Ohio State University campus. So I have a regional campus just in Ohio in my backyard. And so I wanted to go and hear what this gentleman had to say because he was 97 years old at the time. And I thought, this guy's really smart. So 97 years of experience, I gotta hear what he has to say. So I went and I heard him, and this is what he said. He said, it wasn't until I was 93 years old that I was present in my own life. I knew a lot of people, but I didn't know a lot of people. What do you think he meant?
Not like Facebook friends, but not real friends. Like he knew people, but he didn't really know them.
Exactly. He knew people, but he didn't really know them. He didn't know anything about them. He possibly could pick them out of a police lineup, but that was about it, right? Couldn't tell you anything more about them. So I was really intrigued by this. I was like, wow, this is me. I know a lot of people, but I don't know a lot of people because I was driving through my life. I was not walking through my life. It's huge. Right after that time, one of my close friends growing up, Mary, was killed in a motorcycle accident. And what was amazing to me is Mary and I grew up together. We hung out together. We spent the night at each other's houses. We grew up. We moved away. She actually lived in Florida. And we kept in touch, you know, Christmas cards, those kinds of things. And the thing about it is when she passed away and her calling hours and we're lined up and we're talking, and of course I want to know how everybody knows her because she's my best friend, right? And I'm talking to people and they're like, oh, Mary, she was my best friend. And I'm like, wait a minute, she's my best friend. And what was amazing is that most everyone in that line said she was their best friend. And that blew me away, you guys, because I thought, wow, if I passed away tomorrow, would there be a line of people down the street saying I was their best friend? I don't think so, right? I just knew it because I was driving through my life. I was rolling along. What a gift, right? What a gift someone has to connect with people on that level every day. Wow. So I had all these things spinning in my mind, and I thought, you know what? I need to connect with people. I need to walk through my life. And so I made this conscious decision that for 6 months, I would not drive through anywhere. I would walk through everywhere, and I would connect with people, and I would have conversations. You know, you have these epiphanies, and that's what's going to happen. Now, in Ohio, walking through in the rain, in the snow, not so much fun, right? It's a lot easier to drive through. And I started within a couple of days at my dry cleaner. Dry cleaner that I had gone into once, twice a week for, I couldn't even tell you how many years. Sarah, behind the counter, who I talked to, who I knew but didn't know, right? And I just thought, you know what, this is a really cool person and I don't know anything about her. So I just walked in, I was just honest. I said, you know, Sarah, you were the most upbeat, positive person I probably know, and I know nothing about you. And that's my mistake. Because we had said hello, hi, how's the weather for how many years, right? All it took was that. And she's one of my closest friends today. What a missed opportunity. You know, so the question I'm going to ask you is, do you drive through life or do you walk through life? Do you take opportunities to really connect with people? When you're in the grocery store, are you power shopping? Are you totally focused where you're not looking at anybody else and you're not connecting? You know, I used to do that. People would come up and go, smile. I'd be like, I'm happy. I'm just focused, right? Focused. I'm not unhappy. But the reality is, you know, are you the person in the grocery store goes, oh my gosh, there she is. She'll talk. You know, it's crazy, I gotta get out of here. Or do you take those chances and those opportunities to really have conversations and connect with people? Because what I can tell you is, not only will that be life-changing, it will be business-changing. If you take more opportunities to have conversations and connect with people, if the worst thing that happens is that you guys live richer, fuller lives, whew, right? And the best thing that happens is you have this giant network of people who you've really connected with on a deeper level, who can say, I trust her, she can help me, and we made this connection. Does that make sense?
And be intentional.
Be intentional. You know, and as you do your 10-10-10 list, as you create those 10 activities, you find out that one thing about the person. You can ante up the game, right, and say, well, now I'm going to do 20. You know, when I was in the field, in order to get the 30 recruits, I knew I had to talk to 200 people. Oh my gosh. But the cool thing is that's your conversion ratio. Over time, you get better. So over time, I got better and better and better at it. So every Sunday, I would make my little foo-foo packets that had my, you know, maybe a sample, my business card, and I would go out and just connect with people. And the thing about it is, are you really listening to people? When I was training district sales managers, one of the biggest things that I would hear is we would go out and about, and I would say, okay, I just want you to have conversations, and I want to just watch. So I would stand away so nobody knew I was with them, and I would observe, listen to their conversations. And after we left the business, I would say, okay, so tell me 5 things you learned about that person. And they would go, well, her name was Mary. She's the assistant manager. And what I found is they weren't listening. They were thinking about how do they get whatever they need to say into the conversation. Have you ever met anybody like that? That was not listening to you. They were just formulating what they're going to say next.
My husband.
So, well, that could be said about all of us. But the crazy thing is, if you really connect with someone, you should be able to walk away and know more about them than just their name, right? If you really connected. And so, you know, I would encourage you as you have those conversations, you leave a business, you kind of type all the notes in your phone. Because if I was going to connect with someone, reconnect with them, then I get to walk back into that business later and say, oh my gosh, gosh, do you remember me? I was in here last week and we were talking about, then you bring them back to the point of contact, right? And it becomes a deeper connection. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And when you're out and about, one of the coolest things that you can do for someone, one of the coolest gifts that you can give someone that can really be to show people that you care. And I would encourage you only to do this when it's genuine, authentic, right? When you really have connected. If I was going into a business and I had really connected with someone and we had talked, what I'm gonna say to them is, you know what? I have to tell you, you were amazing today. You gave me just exceptional customer service, and in my job, that is really important. And so who can I tell at corporate that you are amazing? And sometimes their manager might be in the store and you can share, you know what, she's fabulous. She's an amazing employee. If she says, gosh, I don't know, you can pretty much go onto every corporate website and do contact us and say, you know what, I was in your store at this location, talked to this girl, she is outstanding, right? And the next time I go in and connect, I'm gonna say, you know what, hey, do you remember me? I sent that note to corporate, did they ever reconnect with you? They should have given you a pat on the back. You're finding ways to connect with people based on the conversations that you have. Does that make sense? Any questions, any comments about connecting? The rule of 10, 10, 10, 10. You guys are looking at me like I'm a Martian. You know?
No, but the 10, 10, 10 did help. It was really good.
Yeah, because when you're out and about, if I can just get you to be consistent and intentional, right? 10, 10, 10. Be present in your life. Drive through, not walk through. Mm-hmm. Find out something about every person that you know, that you meet. Don't rush the relationship. You know, if I see my barista in Starbucks, we strike up a conversation, I really like her, you know, and I come back in the next day, I'm gonna bring up something that we said in our last conversation. Isn't that just naturally what you do? Even if you met her at a party, and she was somebody you were going to connect with as a friend, you would want to bring that person back to the last point of contact that you had, right? And that's really all we're doing. I know that if you go out every single week and you start connecting with people, your businesses will explode. That's all you have to do. You don't even have to try to bring up Scentsy, because it will naturally come. You just have to get out here. What about at the party? How are you guys recruiting at your party?
Well, other than Katie's dice game. That's, I mean, booking and recruiting, that does help a lot too.
You know, it's
Flipping our hostesses.
Excuse me, flipping your hostesses.
Flipping our hostesses.
Yeah.
That's probably my the number one for me.
But what if you could flip not just your hostess? What if you could flip like 5 or 6 people in the room?
Woo! We like that.
You have one of the most powerful recruiting tools at your disposal. And most of you don't even know you have it. And what's really interesting is there are 4 pillars to success in anything we do in life. There's belief, there's passion, there's skill, and there's will. So if I really believe something and I'm passionate about it, and I get better at it, and I just have the will to get off the couch, anything is possible, right? Belief and passion will always get you further than skill ever will. You can be the newest stinking consultant in the universe, but if you love Scentsy, you're passionate, you're excited about it, and you believe in the product, you will move mountains, versus the person that gets up there and says, let me tell you about Scentsy wax. Bueller. Because that person's up there and you're like, oh my gosh, how much more can they tell me? But if you're excited and you're passionate, that's all you need. So you don't have to be an expert. When you're having conversations out and about, you don't have to be an expert. You just have to love what you do and believe in the company. Believe in the products. Know that you've got the best game in town. And everybody else will follow. So at the party, how do you share your belief and passion in what you do? because that's gonna connect other people to you, right? When you believe it and you're passionate about it, that connects people to you. So how do you do that within the party?
If you're talking about a certain item, you tell them how you use it at home or what you do with it, or
Sure, you share your personal experience. That's one way. What else?
Smile.
You smile. Absolutely, you make eye contact, you smile, maybe you touch somebody. Like, oh my gosh, it's great to
Look
connect.
happy about it.
You look like you love what you do. Absolutely, what else? How else do you show your belief and passion?
It's fun that you cross the room for
You're informed.
Your body language and your energy.
Your body language, your energy, whether informed. So tell me a little bit about informed.
You know the product, you can talk about it, you can explain like what benefits you from using that product versus another product. Because I know like the warmers, like they say Walmart versus Scentsy. You know, you would know that, you can explain that because a lot of people bring that up. Yeah, you can even use it inside, like like she said, whether it's at home or even at the party. You know, you can just spray a table down and wipe it down and show them with counter clean. It does it on anything, and you know, like the Scentsy Fresh, spray it before you start the party, and you realize that you're still smelling it as the party goes on. And there's different ways that you can act, like not act, but just know the product.
So as you're saying this, as you're sharing this, and I'm sorry I didn't get your name.
Brianna.
Yes. So as Brianna's sharing this, what Brianna's saying is you're creating credibility within yourself, right? So I can trust you. You're building trust. You know, you're becoming a credible, spokesperson for the company. So that's absolutely one way. You also have an innate way to share your belief and passion within the story that you share about your journey. Would you agree or disagree? Your powerful story can be the single most powerful recruiting tool that you have at your disposal. But it's how you position it within the party that makes all the difference. So let me give you an example. First of all, are you all sharing your story? Where do you typically share it? When?
At the end.
At the beginning, at the end.
I shared at the beginning of my presentation.
So here's what I want you to think about. At the beginning of your party, and I've observed hundreds of parties in my career, right? That's been my thing, like close to 300 parties just recently the company I came from. I try to go to parties on the weekend of competitors, because why do you think I do that?
to get an idea of how they present or how they do things.
Yeah, just to see what's out there, right? Because then I can be a better coach for you. So if I know what's out there, and I've observed lots of parties,
You've observed mine.
and I've done I'm sorry.
You've been to one of mine.
Yes, I have. Hey, this is good. So if I see lots of parties, I can see areas of opportunity, and I get better at looking for areas of opportunity. Here's what I've observed in a lot of parties that I've observed. Consultants stand up in that front of the room and they share their passionate story, which is pretty powerful, and nobody cares. Why?
They don't trust you.
They don't know you yet. And they just got there. So here's what I'm thinking. I sit down at the party, and I'm going, oh my gosh, I hope this isn't going to take too long. I've got to get back and sort socks and spray toilets. And I have the argument with my husband to get there, and oh my gosh, Austin just came to me and said he's got this huge homework project, and now we have to go home. I'm not even thinking about the party. I'm decompressing from the day that I just had, and there's a gazillion things going on in my mind, and it is not your listening to your story. I also might be chit-chatting with my neighbor that I haven't seen in a couple of months. And so your story is lost on people that are still decompressing, that don't really know you, that don't care. Now, sometimes when we share at the end of our party, it's lost on everybody too, because at that point, you may be short on time. So now you rush through your story. Or now everybody's going, I gotta get home. How long is this gonna go on? But what if you broke your story up into digestible chunks that everybody could hear at the time that they needed to hear it? How might that sound? So what if I started off my party and I said something like this? Hey, my name is Lisa Hendrickson. I don't know if, for those of you who don't know me, and I've been with Scentsy a minute and a half, and I love my job. Enough about me, I'll tell you more about me later. So what I'm doing at that point is I'm setting this tone. I'm setting the tone that this is gonna be fun. I might even say, hey, we're gonna have a fun time tonight. Enough about me, I'll tell you. So I'm setting the expectation, and many of you are thinking, oh, What is that, right? Because they know the drill. Now in the middle of my party, somewhere in the middle, as I'm getting to know you, I might say something like this. Hey you guys, you know earlier I told you I've been with Scentsy a minute and a half and I love my job. Let me tell you why I came to this amazing company. I came to this amazing company because you guys, I was on this treadmill that I could not get off of. I needed quality of life and work-life balance. And let me tell you, I am here today to tell you I have got all of that and more. This company has been amazing for me, right? Now, my story, if I broke it down and really gave you the whole story, it would be, I came to Scentsy because I was working nonstop. I had no balance. My family was never seeing me. My kids needed me home. But the reality is, when I get that finite, people in the room will disconnect with my story as much as they will connect. Does that make sense? If I'm sitting in the room, because a lot of times, I'll give you a perfect example. I was listening to a consultant share her story once, and she was talking about how her business had saved them from the brink going bankrupt. They were on the brink of bankruptcy. And when she started her direct sales business, she was able to pay off her debt, blah, 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 blah. Very powerful. When I said later to somebody in the room, so, you know, what's stopping you from starting a business? They said, oh, we don't have financial problems. Do you see how? Now, some people in the room that did have financial problems would be like, yes, but don't you want to connect with as many people in the room as possible?
Yes.
So if you look at your story and you kind of put it at that 60,000 foot view and you say, what is paying off debt? It's financial freedom. If I say, you know what, I came to Scentsy because I needed financial freedom. And I'm here to tell you, it has been amazing. I am living the life I never thought. If everyone in that room is going to hear financial freedom in the way they need to hear it, financial freedom to you means something different than to you. Does that make sense? Quality of life, work-life balance, rewards and recognition. Now at the end of my party, when I'm wrapping everything up, I might say, you know what, you guys like to tell you. And I might even sit down with you like I'm one of the girls, right? Because at this point, I've gotten to know you all. So you know what, earlier I told you I've been with Scentsy a minute and a half and I love my job. And I came for that quality of life and work-life balance. But let me tell you why I stay with this amazing company. I stay because, and I might share why I stay. I stay because, you know what, I'm part of something bigger. You know, I'm rewarded and recognized for my work. You know, I feel special. And I'm telling you right now that I know some of you in this room have a place in your heart or your homes too for this amazing company. So I want you just to think for just a minute what a Scentsy business can do for you and your family. You know, how it could be life-changing for you like it's been for me. Because I can tell you this business can be anything you want it to be. So I encourage you, you know, to have a conversation with me about it. And maybe it's not good for you at this time, but I know you might know somebody who would fit this business perfectly. And I would love for you to refer them to me. Do you see the impact of breaking your story into manageable chunks?
Yes.
Now I brought the format sheet for all of you. I'm going to give you tonight of how you break your story up, and just the words, you know, the kind of word choices so that you can do it. But here's the thing: when you break it into manageable chunks, what you're doing is you're building a connection throughout your party with every single person in the room. Does that make sense? And you're bringing them along at the point in time that they need to hear it. And it becomes a powerful booking tool or recruiting tool. If you're doing everything right in your party and you're planting booking seeds, you're planting recruiting seeds throughout, right? You know, is there smelling the wax and they're having fun and you're saying, oh my gosh, you know what? You're so good at selling the wax to your friends, you should totally do this. There's a great recruiting seed, right? Whenever you're planning a booking or a recruiting seed, these are little snippets to get people to start thinking. What you want to do is you just walk up to someone and state the obvious. That's a booking seed. That's a recruiting seed. What are they doing at that moment in time? You can draw from what they're doing and connect it to the business in some way. So you don't have to really think, oh, I have to go up to her and I have to say these words. No, you just look at what they're doing and you state the obvious and connect it to the business. It's as simple as that. If you've done all of that right and you use your powerful story, you're gonna be a booking and recruiting magnet. Because people are gonna connect to you, they're gonna see your personality, they're gonna like you. Does that make sense? Any questions about that?
I loved it.
You guys are all looking so intense. I'm like,
You're
I don't know.
hanging on to every word you're saying.
Yes. So I will give you the document, and then I will also forward to Katie and Steffi, and then hopefully they can get it out to all of you. The activity where you can break your story down so that you can make it your own. Because here's what it can't be. I am not a big proponent of giving you word choices because I don't want you to repeat my words as yours, right? In order to be authentic, because here's the thing, people are gonna sense that you are a robot or you're authentic. In order to be authentic, you have to make it your own, and you have to speak from your heart. And when you do that, you'll connect with every single person in that room. So, what we've talked about thus far is we've talked about connecting outside of the party. We've talked about connecting inside the party. Let's talk about how you close the deal. Because that's one of the areas of opportunity that I see is you may put recruiting out there and booking, but then you're just like, oh, it's just dangling out there in the wind somewhere, and I hope somebody bites and grabs it, right? I don't know how to close the deal. Anybody feel like that? Like, how do I actually get them to do it? I talked about it, now I need them to do it. I need them to book a party, I need them to start a business, right? So when you're checking guests out at your checkout, and you're connecting with them, one of the things that I tend to hear is, you know, would you like to start a business, or what do you think? You know, you ask questions that can be easily shut down, right? What you want to do is you want to get into the mind of the person that you're talking to and understand where they're at in their thought process. And so the way that you do that is, if I was sitting down next to someone, it might sound something like this. You know, when you heard me talk about the business opportunity and everything that it's done for me and my family, and how it can really be anything you want it to be, what was the first thing that came to your mind? Why do you think I want to ask that question? I'm sorry?
It's an open-ended question.
It is. It's an open-ended question, and it tells me exactly where their mind's at right now. And so if they said, well, you know what, the first thing that came to my mind is, this sounds great, but I am so busy. Okay, and then you do not want to solve their problem. And go, busy? Oh my gosh, busy. We love busy people. Because what that does, and that's been like something that's been used in direct sales for years, to tell them, oh, busy people do great at this, right? Like we're solving the problem. We're not really connecting authentically when we do that. And we're minimizing their concern. We're like, well, so what if you're busy? You're gonna do this anyway. I don't care how busy you are, right? But what if I said, so you're busy, tell me a little bit more about that. You want to kind of hear what's going on in their life, right? Because then you're connecting. And as you're listening to them, you know, you can say things like, well, gosh, it sounds to me like you have a lot on your plate right now. You can actually, sometimes people are really busy, and you can say, you know what, it sounds to me like you have a lot on your plate right now. You know, if there's time in the future, can we stay in touch, right? Can we stay in touch? Can we keep in touch? Can I, you know, call you at another time when things seem to slow down? Now, if they rattle off something and you say, tell me more about that, you can continue to say, wow, you know, so, and ask questions. So, gosh, you're the coach of the soccer team, and da 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 da, and you kind of get more information from them. Now, as you're having the conversation, you want to be in the moment and be genuine. So, the question might be, so you're the coach of the soccer team, you have a lot going on. I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but people that tend to be really actively involved in a lot of things, they tend to have huge networks of people that they can draw from in a business. I don't know if you've ever thought about that. So you give them little tidbits to chew on, right? And then see where it leads you. See where the conversation goes. Does that make sense? But what you're trying to do is have an open-ended dialogue. And then when they express an interest, you say, oh my gosh, you know what, I would love to talk to you about this further. When can we make this happen? I've got tomorrow at noon. It's not, you know, would you like to, it's like, when can we make this happen? Let's be positive. Let's assume that because they're interested, they're gonna do this. Not, okay, well, it's great that you're interested. Let's maybe connect in a couple days, and wishy-washy. It's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I know you would be fabulous at this. How can we make this happen? When can we make this happen? When can we connect? Does that make sense? Here's the thing. When you can walk someone through, and here's one of the other things I forgot, because I know I got off on a tangent. That's what I do. When you're in the party, you want to be able to walk someone through the purchase decision throughout your party. So you've shared your powerful story, you've connected with them, you've planned a booking and recruiting seats, but here's what happens. Your party is so fast and furious, they don't have time to process the purchase decision. Does that make sense? You're looking at me, I know it probably doesn't. Let me give you an example. I'm walking in the mall, and I pass one of my favorite stores, Express, and I'm like, ooh, that dress is so stinking cute. I might like that dress. So I look at the dress in the window, think, okay, I could do that. I walk into Express, I look for that dress, I see the dress, I look at the tag, I look at the price. That's usually what we do first, right? Okay, the price is good. Now do they have it in my size? I look in, they have it in my size. Cool, price is good, they have it in my size. I go back into the fitting room, I try the dress on. Now the whole other process goes. Does it look good on me? Do I look fat? You know, okay, for the price, am I gonna wear it more than once? You know, I have a lot of things. So there's a lot of things that go through my mind between seeing the dress in the window and putting down my credit card on the counter to pay for it, or my cash to pay for the dress. You need to do the same thing with the people in the room. And you're doing it on both booking, selling, and recruiting. So we'll focus on recruiting tonight though. Your guests need to see themselves in the role. They need to see themselves doing what you do. Similar thing for booking. They need to see themselves as a host to be able to put themselves in the host position. They need to see the products in their own home and how they're going to look in their own home to buy the products. Does that make sense? So as you're walking them through the recruiting, you know, you're painting the picture of what a Scentsy business could mean. So if you noticed when I shared my story at the end, it's like, I'd like you to think for a moment about what a Scentsy business could mean for you and your family, what the extra income could mean. So you heard that when I was sharing my story. That's how you're walking them through the decision. If you're talking about booking a party, you know, I might call one of you, maybe we connected really well in the party, and I'm like, your name, I'm sorry, Sabrina. So I might have said, you know what? I have to tell you, Sabrina, you have been so much fun tonight. We need to bring the party to your house next. Okay, everybody, who's in when we take the party to Sabrina's house? What I'm doing in a way is I'm walking Sabrina through the process. When 6 hands go up, Sabrina already knows that the first big question in any host's mind is, will anyone come to my party? Has already been solved. 6 people have raised their hands. I'm like, Sabrina, you got 6 people coming. You bring a few more girls to the party, and girl, you're cooking with gas. We got it going. So now I've planted the seeds, and I've helped walk her through the process, right? When I'm checking around, I'm saying, Sabrina, you've got like six girls that want to have this party. When are we going to do this? Right? You're helping people walk them through. If I'm looking at products, I'm going to be saying something. Oh my gosh, you guys, are these products not fabulous? How many of you think of these products tonight that you know you could totally see in your home? You could see yourself using them. You could see them being the focal point of the room. Those are the products you want to order right away. You're walking people through those decisions. Does that make sense? So when your guests can see themselves as a consultant, when they know that it's going to make a difference in their lives, it's going to be the closer of the deal. Here's what I want to share with you, some statistics though on following up. Because one of the things that we do is, then we don't follow up. How many of you have had a lead that you went, oh man, I gotta call them, I don't know what to say? Ever felt like that? I'd rather not. Okay, here's what I want to share with you. I have to read these because I always forget these stats. 79% of leads are never followed up on. Oh. A few months ago, prior to coming to Scentsy, I took a group of consultants out prospecting. And it's one of my favorite things to do, take you guys to the mall and show you how to do it, right? Took a group of consultants prospecting. We had over 20 leads. And I connected with each of the people, gave them my business card. But then I gave the leads to the leaders and said, you need to follow up on these. And I had leads reaching out to me saying, hey, nobody ever calls me. When I reached back out to the leaders, they said, oh yeah, well we didn't know what to say. Well, what do you say? You just say, you know what, hey, we met in the mall 2 weeks ago, or, well, hopefully we met in the mall 48 hours ago, because you never let a lead go cold. Well, we met in the mall the other day, and, we talked about, perhaps doing a party, or maybe you want to start a business, I'm just following up, right? So 79% of leads are never followed up on. And so my question to you is, do you make the time to call your leads? Because they typically are not gonna call you. One of the things that I've heard frequently when I'm out and about, like I'm in an airport, or I'm talking to somebody about what I do, it will always come up, oh yeah, you know what? I had talked to somebody about a business and they never called me back. Or I was gonna have a party once and then they never ever got back to me. So you wanna make sure you follow up. You also wanna make sure that when you follow up, your words exude passion and belief in what you do. If you're calling someone and you're like, hey, we talked, and that you, right? So one of the coolest things you can do is if you're gonna follow up and you're gonna leave messages, what I'm gonna ask you to do is leave the first message for yourself. And then I want you to listen to your message and ask yourself, would I call myself back? Because if you hear the message and you're like, I would not call myself back, you gotta figure out another message. And it's gotta be short, pithy, and fun, right? Hey, it's Lisa with Scentsy, and we met, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk to you, and the message has gotta be short, pithy, fun.
What would you say, like literally? Give us an exact example.
Sure. So, give me a scenario of why I would call somebody back.
So it's somebody that you talked with at a house party, and they said, yeah, I could kind of see myself in the role, but I'm worried I'm a little too busy. And you guys talked about it, and she left it that, yeah, I mean, it might be an okay time, someone like that.
So, hopefully, I wouldn't have to leave a message. I'd actually get to talk to Katie But if I was leaving Katie a message, I'd say, hey Katie, it's Lisa Hendrickson with Scentsy. I have to tell you, it was fabulous to meet you the other day. And you know what I would love to do? You talked about an interest in the business. I want to know how we can make this happen. I cannot get you off my mind. I cannot stop thinking about you. You would be absolutely fabulous at this. So I hope you'll call me back because I have lots of great information to share with you. Something like that. That was just off the top of my head.
Love it.
But one of the things that you want to share is that you haven't been able to stop thinking about them, right? It was fabulous to meet them. Because typically, I'm not lying, I have been thinking about her, right? I want her on my team.
That's the reason why I got followed.
Exactly. It was fabulous to meet her. We had a great conversation. And I might even connect with her when I'm calling and say, you know what, oh my gosh, Katie, it was so great to meet you the other night. I had so much fun talking to you. You are amazing. I have not been able to get you off my mind. I really want you to be part of my team. How can we make this happen? I know you'll be fabulous at this. Why are you laughing?
Sorry. I would think stalker.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to tell you, I love that you're saying that. And that's what I thought I heard. I thought I heard over there. That's what I wanted to
It should become pushy.
Okay, so here's the thing. It is a message. It's fast, fun, and it's pithy. And here's the thing. Your belief window is that, oh my goodness, I would sound stalkerish. But that's your belief. Here's what I'm saying.
I'm totally doing it.
If you had a message like that and someone said you're fabulous, I know you'd be fabulous at this. Most of the time, even if it's not the right time for you, you're gonna listen to that message and go, wow.
Feel good about her.
She liked me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She liked me. It's amazing. It's amazing what our belief is like, oh, start. But here's the thing. You connected with me. We talked about it. I expressed an interest. You said you were going to get back to me. So check, 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 right? I can't be stalking someone unless they don't want to have anything to do with me, right? Don't call me. Don't write. Okay, gosh, you'd be fabulous at this. No,
So
you
now,
won't do that.
do you keep calling them until they tell you not to call them anymore?
Okay, so
That's it.
that's always the big thing. Okay. So I have called and left a message, and typically, if I have a recruit lead, I probably won't call and leave a message the first. If I don't get them the first time on a hot recruit lead, I don't leave a message. I try them again and see if I can connect.
Do you think it's better to call or email or text? What's the best?
So,
Jumping off of that.
no, email to me, it's a little formal, little businessy. If I really connected with someone, do I want to email them? I always want to try a personal connection with a telephone call. If I don't reach them by phone, but I have their cell phone, I might text them, and my text would be, oh my gosh, it was so fabulous to meet you. So glad you're interested in this amazing business. It's done so much for me. I know it can do for you. Would love to have you on my team. How can we make this happen?
Lisa, I'd like to ask a question too. We'll all just say, hey, this is Steffi with Scentsy, and I have a question for you regarding your order because they didn't answer the phone. That makes them curious. Did I forget to give them something when I dropped off their order? Did I forget to explain this? Whatever it is. And I would say I get 8 out of 10 of my phone calls returned because they think I forgot to give them something, so it gets them on the phone, even though I want to follow up with booking, follow up about recruiting conversation, follow up with something else, but they're gonna call me back. Because you do. We all hit voicemails. No, but then it's a customer service. I just wanted to check in to make sure that you got everything from your host because I dropped it off 3 days ago, so I just want to be sure that you had a chance to swing by and grab it from her. And I just say it's a customer service call, which leads it to, questions then about booking their part.
And here's the thing, whatever works for you to put you in a confident position is fine with me. Me personally, I think that's okay, but then here's where my belief window goes. My belief window goes, you know what, I'm kind of manipulating it in my mind. That's where I go. But if it lets you, but again, I just said something that some of you guys are going, you know what, that's kind of, and here's the thing, if you're not confident about it, don't do it that way. The fact that Steffi actually follows up, woohoo, I don't care how she follows up.
Yeah,
right?
Katie. She taught me her ways.
She follows up. Here's the thing, I'm giving you ideas. What I want you to do is make them your own. Make them authentic, make them yours. Feel good about how you're connecting with people. But leave a message for yourself, listen to your message, and ask yourself, would I call myself back? That's gonna be huge for you, because let me tell you, I did it, and there were times I went, oh. My first message, anytime I was making customer care calls or follow-up calls, was always to me. To see, are you really in the head place that you should be to even make these calls?
I get nervous. Still. I mean, I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years, and I still get I don't call myself, but even somebody answers and I'm like, can I make voicemail?
Hey, nerves are okay. I still get nervous. I've been in this business 150 years and I still get nervous, right? Nerves are a good thing. Nerves can work to your advantage because they can also get you excited, right?
This one throws up though when she gets nervous.
Not during my phone calls, but
You know what? Hey, I've been doing community theater for a gazillion years, and I still get sick before I go on stage every time.
And I think it
My
makes you
knees are-
relatable too. If people can see that you're not perfect at this, that because I think some people put us on a pedestal and they think, well, but you're so good at this, or you're a people person, or you're really articulate, and they don't realize, well, yeah, but I worked really hard to get that way.
I love that comment, because here's the thing, and you guys can be honest. If you ever call somebody and you get nervous and you forget your words, go, oh my gosh, I am so sorry, I just totally lost my train of thought. I got a little bit nervous. I was so excited to talk to you and I got nervous. Do you not think someone's gonna say, I love the fact that she's honest, right?
I think a lot of us just don't want to seem pushy.
Here's the thing, in my experience, the person that was worried about being pushy will never be pushy, right? If you have it in your mind, you'll never be pushy. It's just really being authentic and connecting with people. Here's the thing, if your goal in this business, if I just said to you, I want you to go out and make friends, that's all I want you to do, you're gonna grow your business. If in the party, all you're trying to do is expand your network of friends, you're gonna go far. Here's the other thing that I can tell you. Think about word choices. Word choices are really powerful. How does that sound versus how can we make this happen? So I say, how does that sound? Or how can we make this happen? It's more confident, right? Would you like to start a Scentsy business? Versus when you heard me talk about the business and how much it's done for my family, what was the first thing that came to your mind? Because you're trying to get a little bit more out of them. or, okay, I understand you're busy. Or, wow, you sound like you're busy, tell me more about that. It's just trying to get more information out of them. And then are you passive in the way you follow up? Do you slide dial people rather than get them on the phone? I remember when I was coaching someone a few years ago, they called me and they were like, Lisa, you're gonna be so proud of me. I am like getting the word out about my business. I've put yellow sticky notes like that they had gotten pre-printed with all of my contact information on the back of every single bathroom stall. And then I had a coaching conversation, and then they called me back and said, okay, I think I got this. I put these little hooks on all the carts at Target and hung my catalogs. Like, what are we afraid of? In my entire career, in talking about this business to gazillions of people, I have never had anybody kick me, spit on me, or I haven't. I really haven't. What are we afraid of? What's the worst thing that can happen? Someone say no?
Someone might say yes. And then what do we do? I remember the first time I ever recruited someone, I called up my sponsor and went, oh my god, I accidentally recruited someone who went like that.
Yeah, and really, that's the problem you want to have, right? So
What's worse than your recruiter?
I don't know.
So here's what I want you to do. The one thing that we do is the party fixes everything in our business. The party fixes everything. Why do you think I say that? Why do you think I say the party fixes everything? Now you're all why does the party fix everything?
Well, when I hear that, I'm thinking when you're going through a dry spell, you get a party and it opens up a lot of doors.
It does.
Because you can do everything there. Bookings, recruiting, sales.
So the party fixes everything. I don't care if it's a live party or a Facebook party, it fixes everything. Zoom party. Sharing with the girls at, was meeting with Steffi and Katie before, and we were talking about Zoom parties. Zoom, wow. Get in your little space in your house and you Zoom people into a party and you get to talk just like you were in their living room, right? And the people are in live real time. A party is a party. I want you to get in front of people. So with that in mind, we're gonna do a little activity.